What up, Laker Nation? It's your boy DTLF back with another video. How you guys doing today? Hopefully everybody's doing great. Definitely going to touch on the latest reports and rumors on the trade mail with the whole New York Knicks situation. RJ Barrett resigning with the Knicks, and then obviously the little interview that Jeanie Buss had with Sam Amick, all right, from the Athletic. So we're going to touch on that a little bit, and just basically the whole Russell Westbrook never-ending story that seems to be going on all summer long. So I got you guys covered here, man, for at least the next 45 minutes or so. So hopefully you guys are locked in and ready. What's up, Sally? What's up, everybody? All right, so let's get right into this. What's up, Bridget? Let's get right into this. So, all right, Jeanie Buss Unplugged. All right, she had a little interview with Sam Amick from The Athletic, where she made a very controversial statement, at least in the eyes of most Laker fans, where she said he played pretty much every single game, showed up, worked hard. I just really appreciate him for who he is and what he brings to the team. All right. So how do you basically read that as a Laker fan? A lot of people are panicking, saying, "Well, looks like they're bringing back Russell Westbrook, right?" Well, not so fast. Not so fast, right? To me, this screams farewell. This screams, Jeanie Buss is a class act, right? She is somebody who's not going to throw somebody under the bus. Remember, last year was trash. I give you guys that. It was really bad, and all Laker fans want is for us not to repeat that. So we associate that with Russell Westbrook, which rightfully so. I mean, he was atrocious last year, but he wasn't the only one. Remember, Frank Vogel was a huge part of that, and so was just the injuries and everything. It was just like a perfect storm that hit us last year, and that's why we were atrocious. But however, I still believe Jeanie Buss is being classy. This is just the way she is. She has a great heart, kind soul. That's why we love her as the ruler of the Lakers, as the owner. And she didn't say nothing wrong, in my opinion. Now, this was the controversial part. All right, Jeanie Buss said this. She said, "From my point of view, Westbrook was our best player last year." Now, Sam Amick, shout out to him, man, because he decided to send Jeanie a note asking if that was her actual belief. And Jeanie clarified. She said, "The word I should have used was consistent. He played 78 games last year." I said 78 years. So basically, all she was saying was that he was the most consistent player. She misworded it. It happens to all of us. I've done it plenty of times where that's not how I wanted to come across. And so, again, the way I see it is the Lakers are still, based on the reports, they're still looking for a trade. All right. Last night or in the evening yesterday, RJ Barrett re-signed a $120 million 4-year deal with the New York Knicks. What this does is it makes it harder for the Utah Jazz and the Knicks to do a trade, at least one-on-one. So I do believe they're still going to need the Lakers to facilitate that. Now, this morning, Donovan Mitchell, I don't know if he still has it like that, but he basically removed all his Utah Jazz stuff from his profile. So you can bet your butt that he's probably going to be traded by the end by the beginning of training camp. I'd be shocked if he's still on the Utah Jazz by then. So, I feel like it'll happen. And, Mark Stein, huh? All right. So just getting an update right here on the live stream. Russell Westbrook and Patrick Beverley have already been in contact since becoming Laker teammates, league sources tell me. And new coach Darvin Ham has told them he has a lineup in mind to play Russ and Patrick Beverley side by side. No way. Okay. All right. Listen, guys. We need to trade Westbrook. If the Lakers go with Westbrook into training camp, it's going to be problems. All right. The Lakers will find this out the hard way if we do not. All right. I'm not going to panic, but it is discouraging to find out that if the Lakers are truly planning. But I still feel like this is worst case scenario. I feel I'll be in denial or whatever you guys want to call me, but I still feel like this is just in case they aren't able to swing a trade. Now, as I was saying, as far as the whole situation goes with Jeanie, I feel like she's being classy just in case he does get dealt. It just always looks good on her part to talk up her players. You don't want an owner that's going to trash you as soon as you're about to get traded, like Dan Gilbert when LeBron James left the team. You don't want that type of owner, right? So she's being class. As far as the Russell Westbrook situation, I still think something gets done. We need the New York Knicks and the Jazz trade to go through, right, for us to get involved in that. Or we could go and do a one-on-one with the Pacers. Unfortunately, that will require 2 first-round picks, right? So now, just let me just show you guys this clip of Jeanie Buss and what she expects for the Lakers moving forward. All right, some of you guys can hear it.
He always felt that the fans invested their time and their money in your team, and you have to perform for them. And if you don't, then they're going to move on and find something else to spend their time and money on. And they deserve to have a quality product. And nobody can promise a championship every year. But again, unless you're in the playoffs, you're not going to have a chance to win. So I like to have the team be in a position to compete for championships year in and year out. It's hard to.
All right, so pretty much, all right, she's making her rounds, going around and stating her claim. Look, a trade has to be done. They've talked about several moves already. A recent one surfaced this weekend, guys. A recent one has surfaced this weekend. Mark Stein offered up a hypothetical Los Angeles Lakers landing Bojan Bogdanovic from the Jazz and Evan Fournier from the Knicks. Whether that would be enough to pry the picks away from the Lakers, to be determined. Now, that trade right there, guys, it's not enough for me to give up the 2 first-round picks. However, 1 first-round pick and maybe some second-round picks, sure, I do that. What do you guys think of that hypothetical trade? I want to know. And I'm also going to get into the Laker fans. Listen, they just dropped the announcement that tickets are now officially on sale. So anybody who wants to get early good seats, now's your time to go buy. But a lot of Laker fans are saying if Russell Westbrook's not traded, they're not going to go. We all know that's cap. We're going to support our team. We're loyal, diehard Laker fans. The definition of that is we supporting our team one way or the other. We're not going to, we're not Clipper fans, right? We're not Clipper fans. They tend to sell out only when they have the stars, but we all know they were empty as heck, in the previous year. So, look, at the end of the day, there has to be a move. Now, I don't anticipate the Lakers still going into training camp with Russ. If he does, I think that is doomsday scenario. I think, a lot of you guys are already panicking. I'm not going to panic up until we hear official word that this is the roster we're going into, because we still have plenty of needs on the team right now as we speak. We need shooting, wing depth for versatility purposes. I would not mind more size, but for sure we need to get rid of Russell Westbrook. That's the number one priority, right? What's up, Michael? Jeanie needs to hop off the week. No Jeanie Buss slander here, man. Listen, guys, we have to be patient. Do you guys want the Lakers just to pull off the trade just for the sake of making a trade and then shooting ourselves in the foot for years to come? I do believe that Buddy Hield, Miles Turner trade is still on the table for both first-round picks. But remember, Miles Turner's coming off of a foot injury. I want the Lakers to do that, as long as we can put some sort of protection on the second first-round pick. Now, here, talking about draft picks, here's something else interesting, guys. Recently, LeBron James, it says breaking news, LeBron James tells Sports Illustrated that he wants to play with his sons. At first, it was Bronny, but now Bryce has become the new apple of his eye. And he says, I'm looking at who has first-round picks in 2024, 2025, things of that nature. He pays attention to that stuff. So what that tells me is the Lakers do have to look out for themselves as well for the future, because LeBron's probably not going to be here. We don't have a lot of draft picks in the future. We might have one in 2024 or 25, right? Whichever one the Pelicans don't decide to pry away from us. So LeBron James is headed potentially in a different direction, in the direction of where whoever gives his sons an opportunity, right? They might even go undrafted. We don't know what the talent looks like, right? But that's another thing that's going to come into play in the near future. And the Lakers do have to put a protection in that future pick, because let's just say we make a quick Band-Aid trade for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. Miles Turner comes into the season. God forbid he gets another injury like he did the previous season. Buddy Hield turns into a streaky shooter. What's going to happen, right? We're going to be very upset at the fact that we compounded the problem by making a quick trade, to basically resolve our current issues. Now, I still want Russell Westbrook gone before training camp starts. I feel like if the rumor is true, what Mark Stein is reporting, what I just updated you guys on right now as we were on the live stream, shout out to Tara for letting me know. If the rumor is true, right, that they're already planning on lineups with both Patrick Beverley and Russ, it's going to be a rocky start, especially because the schedule makers didn't do us no favors. What do we need to do though? What do we need to do as Laker fans? Should we not fill up the arenas? That's never going to happen. One of us could go missing in action, but somebody else will replace us. Lakers always prime time, must watch TV. So the best thing we can do is pack out the arenas. And if Russ is stinking it up again and his ego's getting in the way, you boo like crazy, guys. We're passionate Laker fans. This is how we show our passion, right? A lot of people are already going on Jeanie Buss's account and spamming trade Russ. So you guys are doing your part. You guys are definitely putting pressure. It's not like, we need to give Clipper fans another reason to say we'd run LA, right? We're still going to pack out the Staples Center, aka Crypto, but I hope it doesn't come to that, because that would be really bad. And remember, LeBron James re-signed with us with the expectation that we are competitive moving forward. That means this year, next year, and if he opts into the third and final year, that year as well. So we have to stay competitive. That is the key, right? But again, the way you put pressure, you go to the games. Jeanie Buss is just as passionate as we are, if not more. All right, and she was embarrassed last season. So were we. So we've already made some changes. I agree with you guys that we need way more changes. I still feel like we need, like I said, to trade Russ and get a valuable package in return. But if we don't do that for whatever reason, I do expect the Lakers to eventually, at some point, pull off a trade, whether it's after the first 5 games of seeing it not work out or the first 10 games. The real doomsday scenario for me would be that the Lakers go in with this roster and they start off good enough to where we become pretenders. And everybody thinks, oh, everything's going to be good. Russell Westbrook is finally bought in. And eventually, at the end of the season, it all implodes. That is, to me, is the worst case scenario. So if we're going in with this team, God forbid, but if we're going in with this team, I want us to implode early on so that all the pressure falls on the front office to make something happen. All right. Now, if we don't go in with this team, then of course I want us to get off with the best start and everything, right? But the improvements. Now I'm gonna head over to the comment section. I know you guys got a lot to say. I know it, and you guys know this is the people's channel. So sound off in the comment section. I'm about to read your guys' comments right now. He said, "No, don't buy tickets if Westbrook is on, bro. It's gonna happen. Listen, if you don't buy tickets, guess who is gonna buy tickets? Westbrook fans. You want them cheering the breaks and the layups? No, you want real diehard, passionate fans there up front and center. That's what you want. And it's never going to happen. We're never going to, even when we're winning 16 games, we're packing out the arena. We got no shooting. I know. We got plenty of needs. Wing depth, too, is questionable now that we traded away Stanley Johnson. That's why I don't believe these interviews and all these things. I feel like this is just to, I don't know if it's a leverage play or is this just to kind of prepare for the worst case scenario. But I do believe the Lakers are still active. I do think before training camp starts, we'll have at least one more trade, and hopefully it's the one we're looking for. You said, Danny, Jeanie is going to ruin the franchise. She hires friends like Kurt and Linda and praises Brickbrook. Nah, bro. See, that's just a thing, man. Jeanie Buss is a professional. She's an owner. She has to say the right things. It's like politics. You can't go out here and speak your mind all the time. We're fans. We get to speak our mind. That's why we have these type of platforms, right? We get to speak our minds at all times, but they're not. Jeanie has to stay professional. If she starts trashing Westbrook now, it only makes us look more desperate. The trade packages that we get in return are only worse. So this could be very well a continuous leverage play. However, it's really hard to trade players like Russell that don't have no market value, and people are trying to gut us like a fish and take away lottery picks that could end up even being the first overall pick. We don't know what the future holds. So to everybody just saying, just trade this, just trade that. They know better. Thank God we're not running the team because we're more emotional, and that's okay. That's what being a fan is. You're an emotional being. You're somebody who's sometimes going to change your mind, and you got to know what you want when you're running a franchise like the Lakers at the top. You can't be flippy floppy. The sub DTLF, that shirt is awesome, man. He said, I just wanted y'all to send positive vibes to all the Laker Nation. I'm a Bulls fan. Lakers my second favorite team. Dan, Jeanie has a good heart. I wish she was more tougher. You know what? She's pretty tough, though, if you think about it. Thanks, bro, for the good wishes as well. Shout out to my boy right there. Listen, she fired her brother. I don't know how much tougher she can be than that. I understand we are impatient. We don't see the Laker fans. We're traumatized because we are spoiled. We're used to winning at all times. But this upcoming season, we just cannot repeat what happened last season. That is a fact. And I think they know that. LeBron knows that. That was one of the quotes in the article when he resigned, that LeBron said we cannot repeat what happened last year, or else he's going to want out. He might request a trade, right? Just because we have him under contract doesn't mean we have the situation under control. Look what happened with the Nets, right? So we still have to make right by LeBron, by AD, and especially by Laker fans, because we're the ones that pay the tickets. We pay the cable bill. We buy the merch. We're the ones putting money in their pockets, so they got to make right by us. And Jeanie said that in the stream I just posted up. So I expect her to live up to the hype. She knows what's up. He said, "I'm just happy THT isn't on the team playing small forward. That was embarrassing." That's more. Listen, you're gonna be mad when you find out THT is actually a good player, because that is more on Frank Vogel and the way he utilized Taylor and Horton Tucker. To me, we did get rid of a huge problem last year, and that was Frank Vogel. We still got another huge problem, though. And once we get rid of that, I think a lot of Laker Nation is going to breathe a sigh of relief. We're going to calm down, and we're eventually going to feel good about our roster. But right now, we're uneasy because we have a player that last year during the losses was saying stuff like winning isn't important. He's already accomplished a lot. He wouldn't be willing to come off the bench. So when you have that type of toxicity on your roster, you want that off ASAP, right? Problem is, guess what? The rest of the league smells of desperation, right? The rest of the league sees that the Lakers really want this piece gone. And maybe that's why the Lakers are coming out with these interviews and saying they support Russ. That's why LeBron is probably saying that. Maybe Patrick Beverley's talked to Russ just in case they have to start the season together. Darvin Ham has already implemented him into the team, because I feel like the front office knows that it takes two to tango, right? To make a trade, we can't just ourselves make a trade unless you're giving away everything for nothing, right? So it has to make sense for both sides, and that's the hard part, even though the front office deserves the pressure, because obviously they traded for Russell Westbrook in the first place and we gave away too much, I think it's only fair to sit back, wait, let's see what the final product looks like in training camp, and then we can go from there. Then the criticisms can rein in. If September 26, 27, whenever training camp starts, this is the roster, then I'm definitely going to go in harder on the front office, because I feel like we need to make changes. But for now, I'm still very optimistic. I'm still waiting. Call me delusional, call me, blind, doesn't matter. My hope and my faith in the front office is still there, as long as we don't go in with this roster. There needs to be at least one more trade, and hopefully, like I said, it's the one with Russ. He said, Dan, Lakers may have no choice but to keep Russ if the teams demand 2 first-round picks unprotected. I agree, but even if that happens, they do have other choices. People have already talked about sending him home, right? That's an option. People have already talked about buying him out. That's an option. People have talked about, keeping him up until the trade deadline and then shipping him off when he has more value, because all of a sudden you only have him for one quarter, the last third of the season. So we're going to have options. I just hope that we don't have to exhaust all these resources and go down to the wire in order to make these decisions, because that could ruin your season. And again, Laker fans don't want to go through another season like last year. We don't. We were the butt of the jokes last year, and that can't happen for a generational franchise, especially when you have LeBron and AD on your team, right? No matter what. He said, Buddy and Miles make us a contender if we stay healthy. I don't understand how that's a fleece. 1 pick is to get off Westbrook, and 1 is to get a good player. It's a fleece because, to be honest with you, man, we shouldn't have to give up a whole first-round pick to give up Westbrook. Now, if they get 2 picks, right? I'll be honest with you. The 1 pick is worth, obviously, Miles Turner is worth a first-round pick if he's healthy, though. But if he was on the Lakers and he had gotten injured the previous year, right, especially with the foot injury he had, that's dangerous for a big man. We saw so many big men with foot injuries. You saw what happened to Shaq. If he was on the Lakers, I promise you nobody's offering us a first-round pick for him because of that foot injury. You see what I'm saying? So now you're combining 1 first-round pick for both Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, which I think is fair, because Buddy Hield never been worth a first-round pick, to be honest with you. He hasn't made an impact in this league. He's putting up the stats on losing teams. That you got to be careful when you get players who put up stats on losing teams. Doesn't always translate to winning, right? So he's still a big question mark. If he gets to LA, then we will see what he's really made of. If he can put up those big numbers on a winning team, then we could say he was worth the trade, right? But you never want to give up 2 first-round picks unprotected just to offload Russell Westbrook and get one potentially healthy player and one potentially consistent or inconsistent player. We don't know, right? So you have to look at all these variables. And again, you have to look at every scenario. Lakers get Miles Turner. God forbid an injury happens to any of the big three, right? Whether that be Miles, LeBron, or AD. And then we're not going to go far in the playoffs like that either way. Now you just offloaded 2 first-round picks for a potential 1-year rental in Miles Turner and another contract that could end up looking bloated. And now guess what? All of a sudden, not only are we calling for Rob Pelinka's head on a stick, now you're calling for Jeannie's head. So they know what they're doing, man. They know they got to tread very carefully here. And, you know, the average fan won't understand that, but the diehard sees everything, all the intricate little pieces that go into making a trade. It's not as easy as just snapping your fingers. We play too much 2K. All right, this is not 2K. This is real life. People's jobs are on the line, criticism, you know, results. So Lakers got to be smart. Right, we got to be smart. We got to make the right trade for us, but we also have to offload Russ. We have to do both, and it's a juggling act. It's not easy, right? People smell blood in the water. They're like sharks. The Laker tax is real. So Dan, a Russ, Beverly, Bron, AD, Jones is a terrible lineup. That is Ham's thinking. It could be. It potentially is a terrible lineup. It looks bad on paper. It looks really bad on paper for sure. And I do not want to see that lineup. But the only thing I hope is that if Ham rolls that lineup out in preseason or at the start of the season and it doesn't work, which most likely it won't, he makes the adjustments early. Not like Frank Vogel took like 25 games before he started making adjustments, and then he couldn't settle on a roster rotation, right? He needs to find his rotation early. That's going to work for both the bench and the starters, and we need to find that early, hopefully training camp and preseason, and then roll that out consistently enough where they can get a rhythm throughout the course of the season. You make sense, Dan. I'm just heated after that Jeannie interview and Mark Stein news. I know, man. And trust me, I'm not happy about Russell Westbrook still being on this team. I'm not. I tend to stand back and be objective about everything and just look at the whole picture, right? The whole picture says it's not as easy to trade Russell Westbrook because there could be some major repercussions moving forward if you just do a Band-Aid trade, right? You don't put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. You're going to bleed out eventually. You understand what I'm saying? So Lakers got to be so smart about this situation. It's not as easy as we make it seem. You know, a lot of fans out here saying, just do this trade or do that trade. It takes 2 to tango. All right, they got to be willing to do that trade as well as us not getting fleeced. And it's really hard to find that balance. You know, as it is, teams already don't like the Lakers. We know that, right? Most hate it. 17 chips is for a reason, man. And nobody's trying to help us, nor should they, right? We don't want any handouts. He said, Dan, I've got younger cousins who were excited to go watch the Lakers this year. I honestly don't want to take them to watch that guy. That's why I'm mad. Listen, I understand, man. Nobody, Laker Nation is not going to embrace. Laker Nation is not going to embrace somebody who doesn't embrace winning. I get that. But I refuse to believe that this is the final product. It just doesn't make sense. Not enough shooting, not enough wing depth. Those are the main 2 reasons why. And obviously Russ is the 3rd reason why. I just don't believe this is the final product. So I'm trying to be patient, man. We got about 4.5 weeks before training camp starts. If this is the final roster going into training camp, then we're going to have a different conversation for sure. All right. We're going to have a much different conversation. Remember, for me, Rob Pelinka is already on strike 2. This could be a strike 3. We go in and have another failing season. Not just his job is going to be on the line. Trust me when I say the criticism, the fire is going to get hot. And I don't wish that upon Jeannie Bus at all. He's a brother, you spitting facts on facts 100. Thanks, my bro. Appreciate you, man. How you doing today? Thanks so much for the super chat. Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate you, man. Right back at you, brother. He said we have to protest outside of Staples Center to trade Westbrook. If it has to get down to that, then we're really gonna have some question marks arise. So again, let's just wait and see. All right, the last thing we want is to force the Lakers to make a desperation trade. All right. Whose side are we on? Right. We put that kind of pressure. All of a sudden, they might turn around and just say, all right, this is what y'all wanted. All right. We gave up our future. And if it doesn't work out, that's what Laker fans wanted. So this is why we don't run the team, man. We are very emotional. But let's sit back and be patient. I'm here to settle down the masses. You know, people saying they're not going to buy tickets. That's cap. we're all gonna buy tickets as soon as we get a chance. It's the Lakers, man, the greatest show on earth, and we're loyal Laker fans. We're not fair weather fans, right? Never have been. We're just emotional right now, and that's okay. I get it. I'll let y'all vent. I'm not gonna critique y'all because I be the same thing, the same way when I get emotional. So it's all a part of being a fan. Dan, how are you doing, brother? I wish your Lakers well, my man. He says, I know it sucks. Russell Westbrook is still on your team. The good news is Darvin Ham isn't Frank. Russ isn't playing good. Bench him. That's true, Denver Nuggets, baby. How you doing, bro? That is very true, brother. And listen, here's the thing. We just don't know if this is the final product anyways, right? They're saying all the right things. They're trying to be classy, but we haven't heard one single thing from Russell Westbrook outside of him dancing and singing on his Instagram and stuff like that. So we don't even know if he's on board, right? He probably just knows that this is all just a cover up before he gets traded, right? And as far as him working out with the team, there's been speculation that was an old video. Even if it was a legit video, he's going to get his body right. This is, training camp's around the corner. What do we expect him to stay at home because he might not be a part of the team? No. Even THT, before he got traded, he was with the Lakers at the training facility, at the practice facility. So why are Rob and Jeanie letting Russ slide? They're not, man. Trust me when I say they are not. They're just a class organization. They're not going to throw anybody under the bus. They didn't even talk bad about Frank Vogel, even though he underperformed the last 2 years, right? So the facts, Dan, teams are trying to rip us off in trades. You said Grant went to Portland for 1 first-round pick, but teams wanted multiple firsts for an expiring Russ. That's what I'm saying, Kevin Lee. Exactly, bro. You get it. You understand. They're trying to rip us off. We're not trying to be an accessory to the, to the crime. Laker fans, we should not want to support teams ripping us off. We got to be smart. Yes, we feel really desperate, right? Again, we don't want this man on the team. I get that. I understand that. The only people that want this man on the team are Russell Westbrook fans, and obviously so, because they're Russell Westbrook fans, right? But in reality, we have to deal with whatever situation is at hand. And right now, the truth of the matter is that we are relying on that New York Knicks Jazz trade. That might be the way out of Russell Westbrook, right? Jazz were willing to take on Russ. So we got to wait and see if that's going to go down, right? Like I said, Donovan Mitchell, as of this morning, officially took off all his Utah Jazz stuff from his, I'm not sure if it was Twitter or Instagram page. Somebody sent it to me. So if you're a fan of reading the tea leaves, then maybe you can read something into that. But he said, talk to me about the youth and brilliant mid-round picks that the Lakers got rid of for AD and Russ and listening to Clutch. Sir Felix, thanks for the cash app. Look, the youth and brilliant mid-round, first-round picks we got rid of. Look, AD was worth it because we already won a chip out of that. I don't care if they say bubble chip, bubble gum chip, whatever chip y'all want to label it, it's still a chip. All right, that's still one more than the Clippers have. All right, so no matter what type of championship y'all want to label that, we already got one. So we won that trade. What have the Pelicans done since then? Made the playoffs one time, and they're being praised. And some people have even been ludicrous enough to say they won that trade, right? No. That's number one. Number two, Russell Westbrook was a huge mistake. Even I vouched for it because I was feeling desperate, kind of like we are feeling right now. But I learned from that, right? Because if I didn't learn from that as a fan, I would have been vouching for another desperate trade right now. I was like, just give up whatever just to offload Russell Westbrook. I want to be competitive. I would have been saying something like that. No, I've learned from that. We don't want to dig a deeper hole for ourselves by having to trade away Russ and giving up too many assets. Imagine we give up either 2027 or 2029 pick, and they both end up being top 5 picks. And those players end up being franchise players. We're forever going to be haunted, especially if the season doesn't work out for us coming up. We're forever going to be haunted by giving away those assets for a potential 1-year rental. Like, wow. Like, the only player that I would have loved to bring on for the 2 first-round picks, Kyrie Irving. Even though I still wanted a protection on the 2nd first-round pick, but I was willing to do that. These other players, man, I like Bojan. He's nice from the Jazz. Yeah, he 3-and-D type of player, prototypical. Is he worth 2 first-round picks? Hell no. None of the other role players are offering us are either. All right, we're talking about an expiring contract. Russ shouldn't cost you to give up a first-round pick unless he had multiple years left on his contract. He does not, right? So a rebuilding team should be able to take on that contract, right? But again, we're hearing rumors and reports that the Jazz covet the 2 first-round picks. Well, then make it happen. Make something nice happen. Go ahead and trade away Donovan Mitchell in a 3-way package, 4-way team deal, where we can end up with some nice pieces. Make it happen. And lastly, I want to talk about one more rumor, guys. Again, I don't know why or where these rumors come from, but I do want to address it. Basically, before he signed the contract extension with the Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James was linked to the Phoenix Suns, quote unquote. But there's been reports, Western Conference executives, of course, unnamed Western Conference executives, it could be the Clippers, could see the Lakers trading Anthony Davis to the Suns for a package including DeAndre Ayton and Cam Johnson. I'm going to let y'all get off on this rumor, all right? First of all, we can't even trade for DeAndre. He just signed an extension. You can't trade for him, I think, till like January something anyways. That's number one. Number two, I don't care how good you think DeAndre Ayton is or how much younger he is. He's no Anthony Davis. Okay? He's good, solid defensively, block shots. I would be happy to have him on the roster, but they better throw in way more than what they're offering if they even want to get conversation started. Plus, I'd rather hold on to AD. All right, that's me. What y'all think about that proposed Anthony Davis trade? That's what I want to know. Is it trading away our future for a 1-year rental is not worth it? I agree. Just the risk you got to take if you want to compete and offload Russ and get some competent players. He said, I would not give up a first to the Jazz for role players. I do it. Listen, I give up 1 first to the Jazz, but it has to have Bogdanovich and Jordan Clarkson. But they get 1 first. That's max. They're not getting 2. It's crazy that they want 2. They better find a way to get Indiana involved where we can get other pieces from them as well. Ayton is so soft. Anonymous execs are never right. I agree. It's always haters, really, just basically trying to create friction within your roster. The DeAndre plus Bridges plus Cam and 2 to 3 first-round picks for AD. I mean, that sounds a lot more reasonable. Now you're including some first-round picks. Now you're getting some more in return. But I still would rather keep the better player if he is healthy. Now, let me tell you something. If he gets hurt again, you're going to hear those trade rumors just start to flare up like really bad. So, JaVale McGee outplayed Ayton a couple of times. That is true. But, I mean, you can chalk that up to experience in the playoffs for sure. I'm gonna need Booker, Ayton, Cam Bridges, and 4 first-round picks. And that's just at the start. Now that's a little too excessive. That's a little too excessive. We cannot. We're talking about not getting ripped off, and we're trying to rip off other teams now. And I love AD, but he's not worth all of that now. So, hey, Dan, I met Zion and played full court 5-on-5. That's dope. He said, with him at my park, he looks like he's going to be a beast this season. I can't wait. Future of the league is in great hands, man. A lot of young talent out there, man. But I just hope that the Lakers can beat these unexperienced teams, even though they got more experience now because they made the playoffs last year. But these are teams we have to beat. We have to use our experience, our superstar power to beat teams like the Pelicans if we want to be really a good team this year. Teams like the Timberwolves, even though Timberwolves got better, obviously, and they got a little bit of playoff experience, so they get better there as well. Those are teams we have to at least beat them in the season series. I'm not saying sweep them because obviously they're young, they're hungry, they're going to get some wins here and there. But we do have to win the season series for sure. Dan, who's your favorite young player in the league right now? Ooh, that is hard. I like a lot of them. I like, obviously, Brandon Ingram is one of the fan favorites. He's an ex-Laker. I like Luka Doncic. I like Trae Young. I like Zion Williams. I like, there's a lot of players I like. Obviously, I like Ja Morant's game. Not so much his attitude, but I like his game a lot. The list goes on and on. I'm a huge fan of young talent. He said, I'd give up my 2 first for Mitchell in a trade. Oh, yeah. See, now, if we're talking about another superstar, now this is worth it. This is why I said for Kyrie was the main player I would have gave up 2 first-round picks for. Now, if we're talking about Donovan Mitchell, who's younger, athletic, his injury history is somewhat questionable, but not as much, right? He's still young. He has a chance to make an impact on his mark in this league. Man, for Donovan Mitchell, I'd give up a lot. I'll tell you this. I'd give up a whole lot for Donovan Mitchell. Now, I'll ask you, what's the most you guys would give up for Donovan Mitchell if that even became a reality? I'd start with, obviously, both 27 and 29, unprotected. That's how highly I think of Donovan Mitchell. But I just don't think that's a realistic trade because they can get so much more from other teams, especially draft picks, which is something that the rest of the league has covets even more than young talent. Think about this. Rumor has it, well, according to Woj, the Knicks gave the Jazz up until midnight yesterday to decide if they wanted a package including RJ Barrett. The Jazz prefer more draft picks than RJ Barrett. So that's you're getting a for sure 20 point per game scorer from last season, young talented guy, up and comer, and they pass on that for draft picks. So that's the league has taken a turn when it comes to draft picks. That's what I'm saying. We got to make sure we don't give ours away. We already given up a bunch. But you don't want to give up first round picks and potentially even lottery picks for role players. That's a big mistake. That's a big no-no. Dan, what's your favorite Kobe and Shaq memory as a tandem? Oh my goodness. I mean, every single time they won a championship was awesome. But that game versus Portland, when they came back, they were down damn near 30 at the half, and they came back and they won. And then that lob pass from Kobe to Shaq was phenomenal. I mean, that to start, I mean, there's so many, bro. So many great memories of those two. I just wish they would have got along. And I think they would have dominated for years to come because they complemented each other perfectly, right? Like literally, like Shaq was like a wrecking ball, and Kobe Bryant was the Army Swiss knife. Like, who wants to go up against that? You know, Shaq was a tank. He said, "Hey Dan, wish your team for the best. Don't really see my Nets doing anything honestly. My two favorite young players is Cade Cunningham and Scotty Barnes. I like Cade Cunningham a lot, and that Detroit Pistons young core is starting to look super nice. I like Sadiq Bey as well. I think he's very underrated. I always pick him up in fantasy draft leagues. So yeah, man, a lot of young talent in this league. As far as your Nets go, though, they just signed one of the Morris brothers. I always get him confused, either Marquise or Marcus. And y'all improved for sure, but that team chemistry is going to be shaky as hell, especially after all the reports that your team's not behind your head coach or the GM. So I don't expect you guys to get very far either. However, you did improve, though. I mean, obviously you got TJ Warren, I think, was one of the most underrated acquisitions this year if he's healthy. You just acquired, like I said, one of the Morris twins, so for sure you're getting a little bit better. But yeah, I still think that East, watch out for Miami Heat. Watch out for the Bucks. Obviously now you got Philly. You got, I'm sure I'm missing somebody, the Chicago Bulls with another year of experience playing with each other. And then who else? Obviously Boston. So the East is stacked, just like the West now. So I like the balance. The West and the East are both stacked now. It used to be a time when the West used to reign supreme, and you just never knew who was going to come out of the East. It could have been some random team. Now it's like you got 4 or 5 teams that could really come out of the East. It's not up for grabs like it used to be. Serena Williams equals unanimous GOAT. Yes. My goodness, man. I get emotional watching Serena Williams wind down her career, man. It reminds me a lot of Kobe when he was about to retire, and the farewell tour he got. It was beautiful to watch. She changed the game of tennis. She really changed the perception of it. I'm sure none of my family members, like, we watch tennis now when Serena or Venus play. Obviously, we're all Compton natives, so we support our own. And I think none of us would have gotten into tennis if it wasn't for Venus and Serena. So I'm a casual. I'm still not a diehard fan, but there's a couple tennis players. Naomi Osaka, obviously, that I like to follow when they get into the tournaments. It's really good. But yeah, man, it's sad to watch her retire, but I'm happy for her. She gets to live her best life, and to me, she's the GOAT of tennis for me. Do you think the Lakers can get Mitchell? I don't think the Lakers can get Donovan Mitchell. Realistically, it just seems like a far-fetched. Again, they're looking for 3, 4, 5 first-round picks, and like I said earlier, the league has now turned the page on draft picks because they found that there's a way to build through the draft, especially for smaller market teams that don't usually get free agents. They saw how Milwaukee, they won by drafting phenomenal talent like Giannis, players like that, building around Chris Middleton types and stuff like that. So there's an alternate route to a championship you can build from within. You saw what Golden State has done with their draft picks. And so with the new CBA, it's a lot harder to go over the cap and just sign stars, which is something the Lakers have struggled with recently. And now you got all these, great prospects coming out of the draft. We got that Victor Wembanyama or whatever. Again, I butcher his last name. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a while till I memorize his name. But if I can, memorize Giannis Antetokounmpo, then I'm sure I will. He'll become a household name if he's good. But you got so many overseas prospects and American talent that just coming out every year that teams just covet that. I mean, look at what the Thunder and Sam Presti have done. They got like a treasure trove of draft picks, just stacking them up, right? And they can do whatever they want with those. They have tons of trade value. And so since we only have 2 picks we can trade in our immediate future, I don't think we have a shot. I would be shocked if we're legit in the Donovan Mitchell conversations. You would think it would take somebody like Anthony Davis to start conversations, right, between the Jazz. But see, that wouldn't make sense because they're trying to rebuild from the ground up. So come on, Vitaly, don't disrespect Serena like that, bro. You hear about the Lakers janitor will be traded to Houston? Who? What are you talking about, bro? The Rams about to turn the F up. He said, can't wait for your breakdown. I can't wait either, man. It's my first year breaking down football, so I'm a rookie. So I'm learning as I go. Obviously, to dissect the game similar to the way I do basketball. Now, basketball is easy for me, 26 years. But football, really, I was casual up until the Rams landed in LA, so I still got some work to do as far as breaking it down. But I look forward to growing with you guys on that channel, man. Primetime TV, DTLF. So if you guys want to subscribe to that, be my guest. But I can't wait. Listen, man, that McCutcheon kid, he has not been cut. I'm very excited about that. He might be the 4th option there. I'm very excited for the Rams this year. And we haven't even played any of our starters through preseason. So, with the September 8th regular season start is going to be just a blast to watch all these new acquisitions, man. We lost some key players, but we got some good ones as well. Is it Coach Ham must make it all work with his deck of cards? It's going to be hard, man. See, because you want to set up your coach for success from the get. You don't want to set him up for failure. And to me, you're setting him up for failure if you start with Russ. All right, Russ and Patrick Beverley in the same lineup, it could work in situational lineups, but not to start, man. I really don't want to see that. I do not. I'd rather see Patrick Beverley and Austin Reeves, or Kendrick Nunn and Austin Reeves, or Lonnie Walker and Austin Reeves. Anybody else who could space the floor a little bit better would be more ideal. He said, "What up? What's up, man? How y'all doing? Any more questions before I get off? I basically broke down everything, man. All the rumors, the Jeanie Bus comments. We talked about LeBron James wanting to play with Bryce and Bronny, which I find really intriguing. Right? It started off with Bronny at first, and now he's going on to Bryce, like saying whoever drafts both of my sons. So he's starting to sound a little bit like LeVar, except LeBron has the merit to back it up, and he has the star power to maybe even pull that off. Can you imagine the history that would be made if all 3 of them are on the same team before LeBron retires? That would be nuts to watch. I'd pay to see that, to be honest with you. He said, how huge would it be if Reeves becomes an all-star this year? Oh, man, I love Austin Reeves, but as long as we got LeBron and AD, they're going to take up most of those possessions. Now, he doesn't have to be an all-star. He just has to be a star within his role, which means he knocks down open shots, he plays exceptional defense, makes the right reads and passes and cuts, and finishes around the basket. He can do those things, and he did that last year, right? He hit a little bit of a rookie wall. He started off shooting lights out, and then he hit a bit of a rookie wall, but eventually he ended up at like 32%, 33% from beyond the arc, which is pretty good for a rookie, but we want that up to like 35 and up, right? If we can get him shooting over 35% from beyond the arc, then I think you have yourself a starter right there. But he is going to have competition, obviously. I still feel like we're going to make a trade, but you got Kendrick Nunn. You're going to have Lonnie Walker there at guard positions. You're going to have Patrick Beverley, and hopefully not, but Russell Westbrook there. You're competing with 4 different guards that who knows how Darvin Ham is going to use. You can use them at the 1, at the 2. Don't know. He said, Minnesota is going to be much better. I agree. But do I think they're championship worthy or actual contender? No. I like Anthony Edwards. He's my favorite player on that team. Obviously, I like D'Angelo Russell. I'm biased. He used to be a Laker. Karl Anthony Towns, I just don't believe in him. And I told you guys, even if they make the playoffs, Karl Towns is going to show you his true colors. He was pounding his chest versus my Lakers. We were old last year. What happened in the playoffs? The cat said meow. Basically, he magically disappeared. So a lot depends on him. If he can elevate his game to the next level, right, then maybe they have a chance in the West. if he continues to play like he does and focus more on his streams and other things, then they're not gonna be that good. Because Anthony Edwards carried his weight last year, all right, but Karl Towns did not. He was good some games, and then some games he disappears. So inconsistent. Is it Darvin Ham planned on running lineups with Russ and Patrick Beverly? Reports say. I just hope he doesn't get that opportunity, because this to me sounds more like a leverage play. But what do I know? I'm just a diehard fan. But it sounds like a leverage play. It sounds like they're trying to make it seem like we're not that desperate to offload Russ. That way a team could say, you know what, we accept your offer, and then it's done, right? At least that's what I'm hoping for. But I will be, I'm definitely going to be sad, man, to say the least, if we have to endure a whole season of Russell Westbrook, especially because we know he's not going to check the ego. He hasn't. He's over here dancing and making fun of Laker fans on Instagram. It's like, bruh, you know, if you have to play here next year, you're going to get booed to no oblivion. And, yeah, I don't know. Dan, I know it's a long shot, but would you trade Russ and the 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Donovan Mitchell and a few salary fillers? Absolutely, Byron. Absolutely. And it's an extreme long shot. We're talking sniper shot. We're talking, nah, man, it's probably not going to happen. They're going to require a lot more. But yeah, I'd love to have Donovan Mitchell. He's one of my favorite younger players in the league as well. Reminds me of a young Dwayne Wade. Yeah, Dan, question for you, man. Are you worried that having Russell Westbrook and Patrick Beverly on the same team might destroy the chemistry amongst the team? We know Russ and Pat don't like each other. Yes. And why am I saying yes while nodding no? I'm saying yes while nodding no because, of course, that's my biggest concern. But just Russell Westbrook's fit, he does not fit his style of play. He's no longer as explosive as he once was. So his strengths are starting to kind of take a back seat. He still thinks that getting triple doubles is his best way of impacting the roster. And he's just so full of himself. And that's unfortunate because I liked him before he arrived here. It is what it is, man. Some people buy into the team and some do not. In order to play championship basketball, you have to be willing to sacrifice. This is why I always told people it's not always about stats. See, when we were competing, people will go hard on, myself included, go hard on KCP, Kyle Kuzma, and all these key role players talking about, oh, they're trash, they're inconsistent, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, listen, they're sacrificing because these guys could really be getting better stats on different teams, right? But they're sacrificing. They're focused on defense first, and then whatever the team needs, right? Whether that's finishing in transition, spotting up for open shots, playing more off the ball. Those guys were crucial to the team, and they were undervalued. I still remember some idiotic fans that I don't even think are Laker fans created a petition for Kuzma not to get a championship ring when he was such a vital part of the team that season. So hopefully those people have learned their lesson. But I was always telling them, listen, these role players are extremely crucial to the team, and for those reasons, man, I just feel like, like sometimes you need players to take a back seat, and Russ is not that guy. It's never been in his personality. He's showing us in the offseason that he's still all about himself, and that's unfortunate because he's not a bad person. He really isn't. Not. He's just doing his own thing, though, man, and that's unfortunate. He doesn't want to get with the program. He said, if we say it didn't work last season, why would we run it back, Dan? I just don't feel like we will. I still don't, even with all these reports and all this stuff, I still feel like there's going to be at least one more trade done. All right. This team just doesn't scream to me championship contender as we're currently constructed. So you heard what Jeanie said earlier in the video. And so I'm telling you, she's true to her word. She has been so far. And I expect her to continue to build till we get to that championship contender. Do you think Russell should have been a top 75? I don't think so. I don't even feel like AD should have been there. Wow. I think Dwight should have gotten that. No, I'm not going to destroy their career accomplishments, bro, based off of last season. I think they both deserve to be there. Right? Russell Westbrook, especially in the Thunder, was a beast. Right? He was a beast. I mean, they got to the finals. He's accomplished. He's an MVP winner. I do agree with you that Dwight should have been there as well, though, and so should Kyrie. So the recency bias really impacted that, but I don't agree that those other two should be left out of the list. Dan, I'm already prepared for Westbrook's doomsday scenario, but I'm having my fingers crossed he gets traded. I really feel like he will, and I can't wait to be back here when he does because I want to break down the new roster. I haven't even gave this team grades yet. That's not because I told you guys I don't feel like this is the final product yet. So when it does happen, I'll finally be able to do that, and we can finally have some type of projection moving forward. Do you have a favorite NBA throwback jersey? Mine's is either the purple Raptors Dino jersey or the Pistons teal horse jerseys. Those are both good selections for sure, man. Um, I like you know what? I miss the retro actual gold jerseys from the Lakers, the ones that were Sunday gold. Remember those guys? You know, when we could actually call ourselves purple and gold. Right now it's more like banana yellow, which is still looking fire, but I prefer the actual gold ones, man. They were sick. Like the colors were just so much shinier on the court. They popped out more, you know, instead of looking more faded. So I hope they bring those back for sure. I hope they bring those back because those were nice. You guys remember those? Those actual golden Sunday jerseys we used to wear, man, on the KCal 9 days. Good days. I'm not worried. He will be traded even if it's at the start of the season with Russ. And if he doesn't get traded, Ham will make him work or he will be sent home. Let's hope so. Let's hope so, Mama mentality, because at the end of the day, we can't tell the future. Imagine out of the blue, he just all of a sudden buys in and focuses on defense like Darvin Ham wants. Then we will be cheering for him. That's just the way Laker Nation works. We root for the ones that buy in and want to win a championship, not for the ones that say they don't care and they already accomplished a lot in their career. So, I really hope that if he does stay, he proves us wrong. But I'm willing to bet my channel. I'm willing to bet my channel on the fact that Russell Westbrook is not going to buy in, at least not on this team. Maybe on a new team, he'll be like, okay, this is a wake-up call. I got traded, and I'm on a contract year. I better make it work. But I don't know. I don't feel him. All right, guys. So to wrap it up for me, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If anything breaks or we're getting any other updates, I will be going on live again. Otherwise, man, I'll see you guys up until either a trade happens or training camp starts or anything worth reporting or talking about. Thank you guys so much, man. Appreciate y'all. Don't forget to smack the like button. If you already haven't subscribed, please consider. And shout out to my sponsor, Prize Picks, one more time. If you guys haven't checked it out, now's your chance, man. Football season around the corner. You can make some nice little green. So check it out, man. Promo code DTLF for 100% deposit match guaranteed up to $100. So check that out. Basically free play. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right. Have a great day. Peace out, Laker Nation.